Is this current warm weather more than a trend? Perchance this winter has come to an end. There is no shadow to be cast. An early spring is my forecast.
And welcome to your Tuesday lunch break. I'm Tanya Rivero, and there you have it. One of our most famous weather forecasters, Pennsylvania's Puxatawny Phil, has predicted an early spring. So what temperatures are we talking about, and when will we see them? Joining us now with more on spring predictions is Joe Bastardi, chief meteorologist at WeatherBELL Analytics. Welcome, Joe. We should add that a little closer to home, Staten Island Chuck also predicted an early spring. So, Joe, groundhogs are fun and all, but what is the scientific data telling you about spring trends?
Well, I think we're in for continued wild weather. February and March, a lot of variation back and forth like we saw in January. It's funny, around Christmas time, everybody's saying there was going to be no winter. And of course, January turned much colder, and we had the major blizzard. And we forecasted from the very beginning that this would be a wild season, more wild than cold, with these blockbuster storms. And I think one or two more capable of showing up here. We're talking about the big kind of coastal storms that can unload very heavy snows like we just saw last week. So a week ago, everybody's going, "Oh, what happened? It's so very, very cold." And now it's warm, so people swing the other way. I'll tell you what, next week at this time, I don't think too many people are going to be thinking that winter's over. Well, it's ironic about the ground. You know, I've spoken out there twice.
Well, that's really fun. But, you know, some of our viewers may be surprised or not to learn that today in Midtown Manhattan, we're going to see a high of 53 degrees, according to our handy weather app. And it's only been a week since we were digging out of a record snowstorm.
And that is something that we highlighted in our winter forecast. Way back in August, we said there was going to be a lot of variation. There were a lot of things competing. We have this major El Nino going on, but there are other things that are going on globally that promote wild swings in the weather. And we believe this is going to continue into March. It wouldn't surprise me if a week from today we're talking about the threat of snow in New York City, and even 2 weeks from today. And we think that this is going to continue into March, a lot of this back and forth.
Again, so do you see another storm on the horizon for March?
Well, you see the pattern that can breed storms. And that's what's interesting, because when you're talking about the amount of energy that is put into the atmosphere by the warming of the tropical Pacific like this, and the fact that we still have a lot of warm water in the Northeast Pacific, which promotes the big ridges in Western Canada to deliver the Arctic highs, you're really at a it's like being at the $5,000 table and you're playing blackjack or something. It's not like we're piddling around with the 25-cent slots.
No.
So it's a wild pattern, and more of the same is on the way.
So is this the new normal, Joe? I mean, what are these kinds of...
Absolutely not. We're going to go to a La Nina. Next winter we'll be in a La Nina, for instance. But as we watch this, if you go back and look at what the weather has done before, you will see this. For instance, December 1965 was one of the warmest Decembers on record, yet there were 2 or 3 major blizzards at the end of January 66. We saw that in 57, one of the warmest Decembers on record, and February and March in that El Nino, 58. Are famous in the eastern part of the United States. So, no, if you go back, the thing is, it's a new normal for people who haven't looked, or people who want you to believe that. If there's anybody that wants to see the weather get extreme, it's me. I mean, I'm the guy that said, hey, come to me for the forecast, but it's all part of how nature balances itself.
Yeah, but you say we have no idea. You say we're going up, we're going down. Who's to say?
No, I did not say that. I told you we do have an idea that they're going to be wild swings back and forth, February, March. I'll tell you right now, I think it's a hot summer for much of the United States. I think we may have the hottest summer since 2012, a direct reversal of what we saw the last 3 summers, which have been Garden of Eden summers with a lot of cool, wet weather in the central part of the United States. We're going back the other way, but you can see this going on. It's happened before. It will happen again. That's my prediction.
So we could see another big storm going into a super hot summer. Wow. So
I don't think the snow is done in the areas that got hit by that snowstorm a week ago, put it that way.
So the groundhog may not be right. I just want to ask you one more question about the groundhog, because you may or may not know our mayor here in New York, Bill de Blasio, missed the groundhog commemoration to go stump for Clinton in Iowa. So do you think politics stole a little bit of the groundhog's thunder?
I don't know. I was going to ask, did the groundhog give any prediction on the election and where the market's going to go? He might as well get into everything.
There you go.
People are going to worship a furry rodent. By the way, I do have a couple rodents now. I have a couple guinea pigs, but unless I feed them their lettuce, they don't give me any information at all.
Joe Bastardi, chief meteorologist at WeatherBELL Analytics. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.